Elliott, look what dropped out of the sky, the Kansas Comet.
Who knew? It's far better than Haley's Comet. Gale Sayers in studio. It doesn't get any better than this, does it?
We don't have to give him any introduction. You just say Gale, and everybody knows in Chicago Gale Sayers and across the country.
Thank you very much.
Gale?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great. I see you have your event coming up this weekend.
Yes, we do. It's on Saturday, and we got several good players coming in. We got Richard Dent, who just got into the Hall of Fame. Willie Davis of the Green Bay Packers. Anthony Munoz of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Paul Warfield of the Miami Dolphins. And Mike Wilborn of ESPN. He's the moderator for this year's event.
And the proceeds go to benefit?
Goes to the Gale Sayers Center. And the Gale Sayers Center is an after-school program for kids 8 to 16. And it's computer training, public speaking, and mentoring. And, a lot of kids today, they don't want to go to college. But we're telling them, if you graduate out of here, you can go to college. And so we're trying to talk to them all the time. Hey, you need to go to college. If you don't go to college, it's going to be tough for you getting a job. And so hopefully they'll understand. And we got some good teachers that's teaching these words to these kids.
How many students do you attract?
We attract, right now, we have about 175 kids. We want to get that to over 200 kids.
Okay. And where do they come from?
They come from several schools around. What's the name of my school?
I'm not going to give you any hints. You're going to have to figure this one out
right,
yourself.
Don't give me any hints.
Gale Sayers School.
Gale Sayers School, that's right, yeah. Okay.
That's not the school of hard knocks, is it? That's a school of fast feet and shifty moves.
I know where they can get some good computers from, though.
Yes, well, and we gave them some good computers. We really have, and they're doing a good job with those computers.
I mean, you could teach them, basically. It's not just all about sports, because you got out of the sports world, started your computer company, and you have one of the top companies in the state.
Yeah, well, the thing about it, when you playing football or baseball or whatever it may be, you think you're going to make a lifetime event out of that. But I played 68 ball games. That's only about 4.5 years of playing time, and it's I don't wish about anything. I always told kids, as you prepare to play, you must prepare to quit. And you prepare to quit by getting your education, and if you can get that education, that's going to prepare you to go to college. And if you don't get it, well, you're in trouble. But I got my degree. I got 2 degrees from the University of Kansas, my undergrad and my master's degree.
Those count as real degrees?
Oh yeah, they do.
Okay,
yes, they do. And so
this is coming from a Missouri grad.
Yeah, I know. That's okay.
That's why I'm asking the question.
And so I got my degrees, and decided I wanted to find a field of the future, and I chose computers. And I got my my wife and I started our computer company, and we've been doing that for the last 26 years.
Yeah, because when you were at Kansas, the computers they had would fill big rooms.
Yes, right, big computers.
Right, UNIVAC and things like that. You put cards in and things like that. Yeah. You didn't have
before the iPad.
Before the iPad, before desktop, before laptop, before any of that stuff.
Most of the kids are coming from Leo High School, 79th and Halstead.
Okay.
And the schools around there, and they've done a good job.
The Leo Lions. I remember playing when I was at Fenwick in basketball.
You were a Fenwick Friar.
Fenwick Friar before they went co-ed.
They got pretty good teams. They really do.
We had the Heisman Trophy winner from Notre Dame back in the day, Johnny Latner.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Kansas had a pretty good basketball player back in the day, Wilt.
Wilt Chamberlain was outstanding, and
he's a little older than you.
Yeah, a little bit older, but he's gone now. But Kansas have had a lot of great basketball players. Danny Manning and JoJo White and people like that. But
Yeah, I never understood how JoJo White, a kid from St. Louis, ended up at Kansas.
Well, you know, it happens. You know, you go to a school and you go to a recruiting visit, and you like the coach, and you know he says the right things to you, and you know, and so you pick that school to go to. And then Joe White did that, and then he became a great All-American at the University of Kansas, and then a great player at the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. Yeah.
He was much better in the pros, though, because I think Tex Owen was the coach at Kansas at the time, and JoJo would bring the ball up and pass it around and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And you could see in the pregame shoot-around, the guy could hit a basket from any place on the court. But when the game came, he didn't have those opportunities.
Yeah, right.
Then when he got to the pros,
You're talking about, you know, why did he go to Kansas? When my senior year at Omaha Central High School, my football coach wanted me to go to the University of Iowa. And he graduated from the University of Iowa and he came back to Omaha Central High as a high school coach. Okay. And I believed in everything he said. And so, you know, if he said go to Iowa, I'm going. Okay, I go on a 3-day visit to the University of Iowa. Jerry Burns was the coach at that time. He was looking for a kid. The fellow's name was Henry Carr, world-class sprinter.
Yeah,
world-class. You know, Henry Carr. And the only bad thing about that was that he didn't have the grades to get into the University of Iowa. But you know, I was there 3 days. Jerry Burns didn't see me one time because he was after this kid. I was 3 days and he didn't see me one time. I said, hey, I'm not going to here. There ain't no way I'm gonna go here if he can't, you know, take time and say, hey, how you doing, and shake my hand. Because if he would have even shook my hand, I'm going there because my high school coach told me to go there. I'm going, but I didn't see him one time.
Was this the Jerry Burns that went on to coach the Minnesota Vikings?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. He knows, but he knows.
What does he say now when you see him?
Nothing.
Now, Kansas football was pretty good even before you were there. They had a team, I think, 1960. Mm-hmm. John
Hadle, Curtis McClinton. Yeah, Bert Cohn.
Yeah,
had some good football players. Yeah, they really did. Yeah.
Now, did you follow KU football as a youngster?
No, I didn't. The reason I went is that people thought I was stupid, you know, in Omaha, Nebraska. But anyway, I went to the University of Kansas and talked to the coach. I liked Jack Mitchell; he was a great coach, and he told me, he said, Gale, I want you to see a man in Kansas City. Okay, so we drove down to Kansas City, and the fellow's name was Ray Evans, a good football coach. He was All-American. And he said, Gale, you know, if you get your degree, I think I can promise you that we can get you a job after you get your degree. And no other person, you know, even said anything about that, about getting my degree and things like that. And so, you know, I got my degree, and I didn't have to go to see Ray anymore because I was playing, you know, football. And that really, you know, made me, you know, like the University of Kansas because, you know, they was concerned about me after football, not just playing for them, but after football.
So nobody came at you with bags of money the way that they do nowadays?
I thought George Halas did.
No, only, you know, they back when I was playing, they gave you a pair of tennis shoes.
Okay,
you know?
It's about as good as it gets.
That's right.
And then when you got drafted by the Bears, I mean, that draft class in '65 was you and Dick Butkus.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
two future
yes.
Hall of Famers, and there was a third pick. What, Jack? Cahan? I can't remember. That's like a trivia question all the time.
Well, no, I'm trying to think who was the third. I thought the third one was a tackle. That's what I thought.
Okay.
But
the name escapes me right now.
Yeah, but it wasn't a quarterback or a running back or anything like that. I think he was either a tackle or a guard.
I hope it wasn't a quarterback because the Bears can never draft quarterbacks.
Yeah, well,
but if somebody had told you, okay, we're going to draft Dick Butkus, we're going to draft Gale Sayers, the next question is, okay, how many NFL titles is this team going to win?
No, well, that's you wish you could say that, but the first time I ever met Dick Buckers, we were both at an All-American game in New York, and we talked about the Bears, and I told him I think I'm going to sign with the Chicago Bears, and he said, well, Buffalo's looking at me out of the AFL and so forth, and I'm going to take a little bit more time and see what they got to offer. But finally, he came back to the Bears. But I never heard of him in my life. He went to the University of Illinois. Never heard from him in my life. But after a half, I know why the Bears drafted Dick Buckers. Because, he was a killer. He has hit me as hard in scrimmage than anybody in a game. He came to play the game, and I came to play the game also. So he hit me hard or not, don't make any difference. I'm still going to go get him, But he was a great football player in college and in the NFL.
So we thought of that guy's name, Steve DeLong. Our producer came up with
Steve DeLong. Okay. You're right. Steve DeLong.
So that made Sunday a piece of cake for each of you guys. You didn't have to go up against each other.
Well, no. Back then, they had a lot of great football players in the National Football League, and the Central Division was always a tough division. Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit. It was always a tough division, and we had some great games in that Central Division.
You had Alan Page with the Vikings. You had Carl Eller.
Yeah. Jim Marshall, who was the quarterback was Fran Tarkenton. Yeah, and we had Doug Atkins and a lot of great football players also, and the Detroit Lions, they had Alan Page. Not Alan Page. Yeah, we had Alan Page at the time.
And then Detroit had Len Barney when he wasn't singing.
Yeah, right. That's right. But it was a great conference. It really was. And every game was always a dogfight.
I'll tell you what. One of my favorite movies of all time sports is Brian's Song. What was Brian Pickle like?
Well, Brian was he always had a joke. And, he just was a guy that laughed all the time, and a good football player. When he came out of Wake Forest, the people thought that he wasn't big enough or he wasn't fast enough, and the Bears took a chance on him, and he became one hell of a football player. And so he came to the Bears and always had a joke, he was a fun guy to be around. And after about 2.5 years, he came down with a cough, and they went in to see what was going on, and they found cancer. And just one of those things that happened, and it's too bad because he was a good football player.
So was the movie a fairly accurate portrayal?
The movie was 100% accurate. Joey Piccolo and I spent about, I want to say, 2 months with James Caan and Billy D. Williams, and going over mannerisms of Brian, of Gale, and they did an outstanding job.
Jeannie Morris wrote the book, right?
No, I wrote. It was a chapter out of my book, and she did write a book about Brian, but before that, it was a chapter out of
your book.
Yeah, out of my book.
And then they had Jack Warden as Papa Bear Hallis.
Yeah. He was there, and it was a great time there. And before they put it on TV, they had all the wives and all the coaches' wives and so forth come to Hallis Hall and watch the movie before anybody else ever seen the movie, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Yeah, I was going to say that movie should have been sponsored by Kleenex or some tissue company, because
I
don't know anybody that can watch that and not be moved.
That and Lou Gehrig's story, the two greatest sports stories I think ever written. And it was incredible. just the closeness between you and a teammate there, and how the teammates rallied around him.
Yeah.
Doug Buffone, I heard him talk about them filming that movie from Rensselaer, Indiana, and it's hysterical. He goes, you know what? You had to keep James Caan away from the farmer's daughter because the farmer was chasing with a shotgun. Is that true, or is that Doug?
No, I don't believe that. No. But no, but the players that they enjoyed, Billy D and the other, for coming out, and they did a good job. They really did. They did a real good job.
And then they did a remake of it.
Oh,
Yeah, they did one remake of it, and it wasn't real good.
Yeah,
it wasn't real good. Yeah.
So who's better looking, you or Billy D?
I think I am. But no, Billy D, nice guy. I really liked him, and only bad thing about the whole deal, but we had to put a lot of padding around Billy D because he only weighed about 145 pounds. He was a small
guy,
individual. He really was, and so we put a lot of padding around him, and it made him look a little better, So, but he played a nice job, did a good job.
Looks like you're at your playing weight still, though.
Well, I played about 205, 206, and when I left football, I was about 190, and so I'm about probably 193 right now. And so I feel pretty good.
Yeah. Now we were at the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame dinner last night at Hawthorne, and people like Dave Casper from the Raiders,
right?
Rocky Blyer was there, Barry Sanders, who received the Gale Sayers Award.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at a lot of these former players, and they're looking like old guys. And I look at Gale Sayers, and I'm going, put a helmet and some pads and some cleats on him.
And give me $2 million, and I'll be out there.
You talked about this Wrigley Field being in such bad shape, and you said if you're on AstroTurf, your numbers have been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. What turf is in worse shape, the Wrigley Field turf back in the day or Soldier Field nowadays?
Well, they're both about the same, Soldier Field and Wrigley Field. But Wrigley Field, they did a real good job of really padding the infield and the outfield. But the only time it got real bad is when it rained, because all the side would come up, and you slipping and sliding around there, and it made it a little difficult running the football when that side they can't tie it down or anything like that. They just put it down on a Friday or on a Thursday, and we had to play on it.
In terms of being elusive, does a guy like Barry Sanders fall close to you, do you think? Because you were about as elusive a football player as there ever was, whether you're returning kicks or punts or just coming out of the backfield, having the ball handed off to him.
No, I think when people ask me about Barry Sanders, I think Barry was the only person that could run like me. He could have these moves like I had the moves, and he did all that with the Detroit Lions, and he's in the Hall of Fame, and he was a great football player. But as I said last night, he had a chance to break the rushing record, but he decided to quit, and he wasn't injured. And I asked him several times, Barry, why are you quitting? And he said, well, I don't want to play football anymore. He wasn't concerned about the records or anything, but if he played 2 more years, he has set all kind of records. No, all kind of records.
He would have broken Walter Payton's record.
Jim Brown,
you name it, he would have had it.
And the fellow from Dallas, Emmett Smith.
You know what? I'm not a big Emmett fan.
Me neither.
Because here's the situation. Emmett had a great line. Richard Dent and I talked about this last year. We sat and had dinner. He said the 5 greatest running backs of all time, he's not in it. He said it's Peyton, Brown, Gale, O.J., and Eric Dickerson are the top 5. And I think Jim Brown agreed with him. He said these are the top 5 all time. Emmett had that line. Anyone with any talent could have ran behind that line and got numbers. And I'm pissed at Emmett because what he did at the Hall of Fame last year, charging $500 for an autograph here.
Yep.
What's your feeling, Nate? Same thing?
Hey, same thing. No, you don't. Those are your fans, and you just don't do that to them because they made you what you are because they came out to see you all the time. But yes, he was good running, no question about it. But he wasn't like Barry. He wasn't like Jim Brown or Eric Dickerson. No way.
they said Jim Brown would do that. Jim Brown would step on the people's chest when he was running.
Well, Jim Brown
was what, 230?
Right,
Going against defensive backs that were maybe, if they were big, they were 175, 180. It was like having a defensive lineman with speed in the backfield. It was incredible.
He would hurt people running over him. I'm going to tell you right now, because he was that good. You know?
He'd still hurt people. He still keeps himself in shape.
Not bad. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I'm in the minority, but when people say, okay, who's the best Bears running back of all time? I don't say Walter Payton. I say Gale Sayers. I think part of Payton's legacy is being an all-round player, having a tremendously long career. Do you get involved in that conversation of?
No, I don't. Only thing that I say when they talk about who's the best running back, I still say that Jim Brown is the best. But
I'll agree with you there.
But when I played the game, I ran back punt returns, I ran back kickoff returns. And there's been many times when we go out there the first quarter and I run back a kickoff return for maybe 30 yards or so. Then I come back to the huddle. I'm carrying the ball the first 4 plays. So I had to be in shape. No question about it. I had to be in shape, but I did it in high school and I did it in college. So it didn't bother me if I was going to run a punt return back or a kickoff return back at the beginning of the game, because I knew I had to be in shape, and I got myself in shape. But I think Jim's the best, and OJ's in that category, and I just I'm playing only 68 games. I'm happy to be a part of the top 10. I'm happy to be a part of it. That's all right.
But in those 68 games, you had enough impact to get into the Hall of Fame and leave a lasting legacy that guys who last 8, 10, 12 years in the NFL do.
Like Sandy Koufax in baseball. Short career, but
brilliant.
Exactly right. The
only thing you need to do is play defense. Why don't you play quarterback? Like Chuck Bednarik, who we had.
he got to play center and linebacker. That's not quite the same as running all over the field, offense and defense.
Who was your favorite football player of all time when you were watching football?
Well, when I was watching football, I did not have a TV. It's very seldom that I watch the pros play on TV, and so I had a chance to meet Jim Brown one time, and when I was a senior at Kansas, and he said, "Gale, I heard you're a pretty good football player, and make sure when you come to training camp, you come in shape, because that's where you're gonna make the team, in training camp. You're not gonna make it playing exhibition games. They want to see what you do in training camp, as far as blocking and catching balls and things like that. And so, I took that advice, and probably made me a better football player.
So was it easy your first training camp, or did you come in with apprehension?
In 1965, that was the last year of the players playing in the bowl in Soldier Field.
College All-Star game?
College All-Star game. Yeah, that was the last year they did it. And I got a little injured on that, but Otto Graham was the coach at that time. And I told him I kind of hurt my knee, and he said, "Gale, I don't think you hurt your knee, so I'm going to sit you out, and I'm not going to let you play in this ball game, because I don't think you hurt your knee." I said, "Okay, fine, All right. And so after the ball game, got in my car and drove down to Rensselaer, Indiana, and I went in to talk to Coach Hallis, and he said, "Gale, I know you had some problems with Coach Graham." He said, "I'm going to judge you by what you do today, and that's it. I'm not going to even talk to you about that, what happened to you at the All-Star game. I'm going to just judge you by what you do on the field." And now I got his ear, okay, and so we had some decent running backs and things like that, but none of them was as quick as I was as fast as I was, couldn't catch the ball like I could catch it, and couldn't make moves like I could move. So I knew that if George Hallis gave me a shot, I would be a starting running back. I knew it. I felt it because I could see him in practice. There's no way these people can beat me running and things like that. And the third ball game of the season against up in Green Bay, George Hallis, he would always go out before the game and so forth. Then he would come back into the room and he would name the names of who's going to play, and he called the tackles and the guard and all that stuff, and I was the last one to be called. He said, "Sayers, you're gonna start today." So I'm nervous now, but it worked out all right. Okay, they beat us, but I scored on a 65-yard touchdown run and caught a couple passes and so forth. And but when the Green Bay came back to Chicago, we beat them.
What did Otto Graham think? He was still in the war or something? Because wasn't he a veteran in the military?
Yeah. But I don't know why he wouldn't take my word for it, because I did hurt it, but he said it. I don't think you did, and so you're not gonna play this game. I said, hey, okay.
And you had George Allen as an assistant coach, right?
Yeah, man, a good man. I mean, he's tough, but he's good football coach, and he did a lot of good things for the teams that he coached after he left the Chicago Bears. Did a hell of a job.
I heard he was one of the finalists for the Bears head coach when it went to Ditka. It was between him and Ditka.
I don't know. I don't know, but it could have been
good choices either way.
That's exactly right. Yes.
So, would you like to play in a Mike Martz offense?
No,
because they're talking about Forte as if he's the next great running back, and I'm going, he's a good running back, but he's a replaceable part.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, think about it. The quarterback is throwing the ball, I think, too many times to Forte. I really do, because now the wide receivers are just flying downfield and nothing ever coming to them. They may catch 3 passes a game, and that's, you can't do that. You got receivers and they got speed and they can catch the ball. You got to throw it to them. You really do. And so I just hope they can change that.
Well, and also if you keep throwing to your running back that often, at some point he's going to get hurt.
Some plan, I'm telling you, because he's going to be looking at the ball, and some little outside, defensive back going to cut him down.
Boom,
and he's over. He's over.
Exactly. And that's why the Bears don't go out and say, okay, we're going to give you a couple bushelsfuls of money now, because you're going to stay healthy this season, next season, season after that.
No.
It's a very cutthroat industry.
Yeah, it is.
And I know you're involved with the Gridiron Greats, Gale. Mm-hmm. With this new collective bargaining agreement, what did the retired players get? Because no one knows. Do you know?
No, I don't know. I'm gonna tell you. But I believe we got something. And it's going to take a little time to figure it out. But I believe that the veterans got something. I really do. But I really don't know.
As long as Gene Upshaw didn't get something out of this deal.
That'd be a good trick.
No, but I don't know what it is. But I heard that they did get some money to help them out in their with their pension plan.
What do you think about these concussions? Do you think it's a real problem, or they're making more of it than it is? I mean, you got Dave Duerson here. All of a sudden, he's denying people, and all of a sudden, now they're making him a saint, saying he had the concussions. Wilbur Marshall basically told me he's full of, what? Duerson.
Yeah. No. Well, you can get a concussion playing football. No question about it. And you'll see many defensive backs go for the neck and the head. Now, I'm glad they got a rule in there, that if you go do that, you're going to get a $50,000 fine or you out of the game. And I wish that they would, if they did something like that, hey, you got 2 games that you're going to be out of this league, because, you don't, the game is tough enough. So why do you intentionally try to hurt somebody? You know, this fella got a family with 5 kids. You know, and he's trying to make a living like you're trying to make a living, and you gonna try to hurt him? No, you can't do that. And I wish they would, you know, just suspend them for 2 or 3 games.
And then some of the players that try to do some of the hurting ends up they're the ones who get hurt. You see a play like Sunday, Major Wright leads with his head.
Right. Yeah.
And once upon a time, and they probably still teach it this way, you don't lead with your head.
That's right.
But again, when Gale was playing, they went for your knees. Didn't coaches tell the players, take Gale's knees out?
And they should. And I had no problem with that, because in high school, you have a big fullback running down the field. Our high school coaches said, they can't run without their legs. And we're down by the ankles trying to chop them down, and they'll come down, and so and the players today, they should be doing this. And now, don't tell anybody this, but
we'll keep it a secret,
please. If I was a football coach, no, please don't tell anybody. If I was a football coach, I would tell my defensive backs, no. 75% of the receivers, and a lot of the running backs too, wear no pads on their legs, none on their legs. Hey, he comes to that line. Hey, you cut him at the legs, and he'll one of these days start putting pads back on. But the NFL's told these people that you got to wear leg pads, and they still not wearing it. But I would tell all my defensive backs, hey, you see, he got no leg, no pads on. Hey, go get him. But somebody.
And they used to teach you, look at the guy's hips, because he can't go any place without his hips.
Right.
Follow his hips and then hit him low.
Exactly right.
Thank you very much, Gale. Again, do you want to tell us about your event this Saturday?
Well, it's Saturday, and you can get tickets if you use my website, www.GaleSayersCenter.org, and you can get your tickets.
White Eagle, is that where it is?
White Eagle
in Niles?
Yes.
Just down the road from here.
Yes, it is.
Nice place.
Good food. Good food.
I'm bringing my wife Saturday night.
Good food and drink.
And we got a lot of nice people coming, and you'll be surprised.
You have auction items?
You got auction items. You got a lot of really good football material that a lot of kids would like to get, and so.
And big kids.
And big kids. So it's going to be a good evening. It really will.
And the people that go there can ask some of these folks for autographs, and they won't get turned down. I saw, last night at the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame, a couple of guys asked Barry Sanders for an autograph, and no.
Yeah,
and I understand the one side, you don't want to give away something for nothing, but when you go to an event like that,
right.
You're already paying for the event.
You're paying for the event.
Exactly right. Yeah,
and it takes the guy 20 seconds, and you can make a friend for life.
That's right.
Or make an enemy for life.
Yeah.
Flip a coin. What do you want?
Yeah, no, but Barry doesn't do a lot of autograph signing, except at the money places.
At the shows.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy. Nice guy. But
thank you very much, Gale.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.